Let's think about fourth grade Unit 4 first in the context of the year as a whole. When you just finished up Unit 3, you wrapped up 3 units where you focused a lot on numbers that were very small. Although you did do some big numbers in Unit 3, you also explored decimals for the first time. And in Units 1 and 2, you did a lot with fractions. As we head into the rest of the year, we're going to move from small numbers to very large numbers as we work on multiplication and division. So, taking a look at Unit 4, we see that we have 4 standards. Topic A has 2 major standards that are actually very similar to each other. They're both about multiplicative comparison. Then, in Topic B, you have 1 major standard that is all about multiplying multi digit whole numbers. Finally, in Topic C, you have one supporting standard that is about measurement conversion, which really is just an applied way to think about multiplication. The whole unit is multiplication. And when we say supporting, we mean that that is a standard that we want to spend less time on, less emphasis. So when you get to Topic C, if you're behind, if you're worried about getting ready for the PSSA, that's where you might want to rush a little bit, whereas you don't want to rush Topics A and B. Let's think a little bit about Topic A first and the concept of multiplicative comparison. So, when I look at this slide where I have a screenshot from the Common Core, it talks about the different ways that we understand multiplication. In third grade, students learned about multiplication and division for the first time, and they did it by thinking about equal groups and arrays and area. These are the 2 ways that students thought about multiplication and division in third grade. They saw lots of word problems that looked like the problems you see on the screen. They modeled using manipulatives and grids. That's how they thought about multiplication. Now, in fourth grade, you're expanding their understanding of multiplication into thinking about comparison. Pause and read over these 3 different multiplicative comparison problems to remind yourself that not all problems look like this problem where you simply solve by multiplying. Some problems actually require you to divide. So you're focusing in on this concept during topic A. And if we look at the calendar, we start mid-January and we take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instructional days for this content. One thing I want to highlight if I go to day 2 is that it says for all of topic A, please use illustrative math as it most accurately meets the learning targets for this major conceptual work using numbers that students are prepared to work with at this point in the unit. So I want to unpack a little bit of what I mean by that. And I first want to mention that I realize that this is an added barrier, an added challenge using illustrative math as opposed to Envision and expressions. And if you want to use Envision or expressions, you're welcome to do so. But there are 2 really important reasons why we think that IM is a better choice. The first reason, if you look here, is about the size of the numbers. In Envision and expressions, they do multiplicative comparison with larger numbers. So you would actually need to do multiplicative comparison after topic B because students don't learn how to multiply bigger numbers until topic B. We really like how IM does it first because that gives you these 5 days to work on fluency with small multiplication facts. That way, as you head into topic B, students have had that opportunity to practice their fluency. So that's the first reason we like IM. It focuses on multiplicative comparison with small numbers. The second reason is that multiplicative comparison is major work, and it's actually very conceptual. Both expressions and Envision don't take a very conceptual approach to it, and they rush through it. We want to spend more time and we want to go deep. So, for example, if I go into day 2, illustrative math lesson 1, you'll see that one thing that IM does a lot of is they use a lot of these linking cubes. And that's important because it helps us to think about multiplicative comparison as opposed to additive comparison. When I look here, I see that Han has 4 times as many cubes as Andre. You can literally see that. 1, 2, 3, 4 times as many. Down here, May has 4 more cubes. That's additive comparison as opposed to multiplicative. And I know that seems kind of silly or obvious, but for our students, that's not an obvious difference. And illustrative does a really good job exploring the difference and using these cubes as a way to understand more deeply. So, our recommendation is that for topic A, you use the illustrative lessons. All right, that takes us through day 6, January 24th, and then we dive into topic B. You'll notice that you have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days for multiplication, for multi-digit multiplication. The way that we have chunked it is that you start off by multiplying by multiples of 10, 100, and 1,000. The reason is because if a student can do that, then they can break apart larger numbers and multiply each of their pieces. Actually, students did some of this in 3rd grade. In 3rd grade, 3NBTA3, they multiplied by multiples of 10. So they did problems like 9 times 80 or 5 times 60. You're going to expand that now by thinking about multiples of 10, 100, and 1,000. The other work that students did in 3rd grade was really with single digits. If you look through all of these 3OA standards, you'll see that students went really deep in their understanding of multiplication. The way that we've sequenced these days, we start off with 1, 2, 3, 4 days where you're multiplying single digit numbers by multi-digit. So 1 digit by 2 digit, 1 digit by 3 digit, 1 digit by 4 digit. Then we spend 1, 2, 3, 4 days on 2 digit by 2 digit. It's a little more complicated. The models are a little more challenging, but we want to practice with the 1 digit first and then move to 2 digit. And then we have time here to wrap it all up on day 16. It's up to you. If you don't want to chunk it this way, you don't have to. We thought this would be a good way to ease in and approach it. In each case, we start first with a 1 digit with arrays, very visual, then area models, still visual but a little bit more abstract, then area models and partial products, and finally, partial products and distributive. We follow that same pattern when we get to 2 digit. Arrays and area models, arrays and area models, partial products, partial products. We go from more concrete to representational to abstract. And you'll notice that we don't do the standard algorithm because if we go back to our standard in 4th grade, we are using place value strategies and properties of operations. The standard algorithm doesn't come until 5th grade. If you want to teach it, that's fine, but you don't have a lot of time. So before you teach it, make sure students have this understanding of area models, partial products. If they truly understand and can do those strategies fluently, then you can move to the standard algorithm. All right, we do our performance task at the end of topic B. You'll see there wasn't one at topic A. And then we get to topic C, which is all about these conversions. It's a lot of days because we have so many different types of units. My big advice here is to help students see that although we're doing different units each day, we're still approaching it the same way. As we move from a larger unit to a smaller unit, we multiply. So a larger unit like feet to a smaller unit like inches, we multiply by 12. Again, if you're falling a little behind, you might rush these days. These days are also a really good opportunity for you to use the formula sheet, get students familiar with that as you think about the PSSA. The last thing I want to highlight is about illustrative math, since we recommended that you use it. You will need to make sure that you create an account and sign in. And if you do that, you will have full access to all of the components. You can download Google Slides. I know a lot of people find those to be really, really helpful for the lessons. And the other thing I think you'll really like are the student task statements, because that is the really printable part that you can give to students to actually complete their practice. That's all for fourth grade, Unit 4, multiplication.